Shalom, shalom, all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahawashai, Ba'asham Racha Kodash, double honors to the elders and the apostle of the great millstone, and salutation to all you sincere can. And once again, it's your brother Abawan back with another video. And upon watching the debate between Al-Azhar, right, of the Gorilla Hebrew, and I believe this is James Brown or Dr. Brown, the Edomites, concerning who are the real children of Israel. And before I go into or make any statements or anything, let me get this preset, because ultimately what this is about, as the scriptures say, the controversy of Zion, right? Who are the true Israelites? Who are the imposters? Because now you have two separate groups of people, two manner of people, as it is written, right? Claiming to be the true chosen people of the Most High Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai. Isaiah 34 verse 8, for it is the day of Yahweh's vengeance and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion. Okay, and we are coming into those times in which the Most High Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai will come back and will bring forth his vengeance upon this kingdom for the treatment of his people, which are the Israelites. Once again, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. And I'm pretty sure, okay, that you don't even need a debate really to know who the true Israelites are according to the Bible, and who the true Israelites are according to everything else, because whether it's secular history, whether it's biblical history, whether it's prophecy, everything points to the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians being the true Israelites according to the Bible, and which is why I'm making this video. Okay, and let me also get this precept as well. Let me get this precept as well. And it's written the spirit. Let me just quickly bring this out. Here it is. So this is the book of Romans 8 verse 16. The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirits that we are the children of the Most High Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai. And if children, then heirs, heirs of the Most High, and joint heirs with Hamashiach, if so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together. And now to go back to the video, and what you have in the video, as you can clearly see, who are the real children of Israel debates. And now let me say this, as we already know and as we teach, okay, starting from the apostles and the elders on down, we teach here at Great Millstone that really debates are unnecessary. And if you watch these debates, if you are a man of the Lord, you understand that even this debate that Al-Azhar did right here, as good as it was, as detailed as it was, as he went into it, he was going into it, was bringing out the information, they was still not for godly edifying. Because what you find out is that all these debates, they are not actually edifying. Because what is the purpose of this truth? What is the purpose of being a man of the Lord, of being anointed and being appointed as a man of the Lord, as waking up to this truth? It is to edify and to teach the elect of the nation of Israel. And these debates do not do that, because what you have in these debates is that you have to conform to the standards and the rules of Esau Edom when you are debating. So you can't go into the scriptures, you can't bring out, you can't fully edify, you have to watch your tongue, you can't bring out some of the, or go into the deeper parts of the scriptures, especially when you are talking with, unbelievers, all right, or even Edomites as well. You can't go into the meatier part of the scriptures, you can't bring out all of the truth, because you know how Esau Edom gets when you start going into the deeper parts of the scriptures, when you start going into, other parts of the gospel, okay? But yeah, Al-Azhar did do a good job here. He went into it, he brought out a lot of information. And what you see from this debate, it shows you once again, it's reaffirming the fact that truly, no man, okay, nobody outside of this truth can come against the truth. There is no solution, there is no answer, there is no silver bullet for this truth, okay? Esau, Edom, and the like, no matter how they hard they try, as it is written, you can do nothing against the truth but for it. No matter how hard they try, they can't find any information that comes against this truth, which is why I said once again that both in secular history, even the history that Dr. Brown was bringing out, biblical history, prophecy all points to the so-called Negroes, the so-called Latinos, and the so-called Native American Indians being the true Israelites according to the Bible. Okay, they are going to the relics, and that's another thing that was actually not mentioned in this video. Why is it that all the relics of the ancient Israelites, the ancient Christians for the most part, because all the information that Dr. Brown brought out was mainly things that happened after the Renaissance, right? When Eastern Edom came back into power. But you go into the Russian icons, okay? You go into the arts and the relics from the first century, and you see that. So, like back I was saying, you go into the art and the relics from the time period, the first century, and from the first century, and really throughout the Dark Ages, and you find out that the Israelites were dark-skinned people, okay? But that's beside the point. I just wanted to get some or play some part of this video and respond to them. That is from the 21st minute, okay? Because he also mentioned something here that I found interesting when he was talking about who the true Israelites are according to genet according to genetics, right? So let's go into this. Let me play the audio. Let me increase the audio a little bit. Hold on, that should be so somewhere around here.
Then, as these Jews made their way to other parts of Europe and settled there, the same process continued, explaining our Caucasian complexion. But the same process occurred with African Jews or Hispanic Jews or Asian Jews, all of whom reflect other peoples marrying into the people of Israel, hence the many different colors and ethnicities of Jews worldwide, in contrast with the original brown-skinned Israelites. For the record, even if you argue that the original Israelites were black, then there had to be conversion and intermarriage to explain the other ethnic and racial groups on the chart. But not only does DNA in general give us a clear link back to ancient Israel, the fact is, as I mentioned before, Ashkenazi Jews who are of priestly descent share the same priestly gene as do Lemba Jews in Africa and Sephardi Jews worldwide. How could this be unless our Kohanim, our priests, actually descended from a common priestly ancestor? If Ashkenazi Jews have no genetic connection to Israel, then where did we acquire this gene?
Less than 2 minutes.
Note also that geneticists have pointed out that the Y chromosome, meaning the paternal, the fatherly chromosome of most Ashkenazi and Sephardi Jews, contains mutations that are common among Middle Eastern peoples but uncommon in the general European population. This suggests that the paternal lineages of Ashkenazi Jews could be traced mostly to the Middle East. These geneticists add that diaspora Jews from Europe.
And of course, he's going into using DNA evidence from Esau's science in order to prove in order to prove that his people, which are the small hearts, are the real Israelites according to the Bible. Okay, but let's see what the scriptures say. And I also want to bring this out first before I go into any other arguments. Okay, so now this is and here it is. Let's start from here. So this is the book of First Timothy 1 verse 3. As I besought thee to abide still at Ephesus when I went into Macedonia, that thou mayest charge some that they teach no other doctrine, neither give heed to fables and endless genealogies, which minister questions rather than godly edifying, which is in faith, so do. Okay, and it also tells us in the scriptures in the same book of Timothy that we do not be taken by sciences, pseudosciences basically, or as it is written, let's get that, sciences falsely so called, which is basically what Esau's science is, and this whole so okay, I don't know what it is. Okay, I have something in my throat. So yeah, it is. So this is the book of First Timothy 6 verse 20. Timothy, keep that which is committed to thy trust, avoiding profane and vain babblings and oppositions of science, falsely so called. And that's exactly what this whole DNA argument is, because the whole focal point, the whole crux, the center of Dr. Brown's argument is that Well, we have DNA evidence that links, the small hearts, the current inhabitants of the state of Israel, to the land. Okay, but the same can be said for the so-called Negroes, the so-called Latinos, and the so-called Native American Indians, especially the so-called Negroes, because what you find out is that you also have that same DNA evidence linking so many of the jakes that are scattered in Africa. Use an example, the Lemba, but also the Igbo, of which I am of which is my tribe here in Nigeria, which links, we also have that DNA evidence, okay, or the DNA mutation that links us to the Middle East. And what you also find out once again is that during the transatlantic slave trade, okay, when Esau Edom took our people in captivity, the majority of the people that were taken from here in the western coast of Africa were from the Igbo tribe, which is why whenever you do any of those DNA tests, ancestry 23andMe, so on and so forth, that you always find out that you have a percentage of Nigerian in you. Okay, but what that really is that Esau Edom can't give you specifics concerning your DNA or your bloodline. Okay, so what he does is, and we already know how this DNA science works, or we just take the DNA samples of all the people that live in that land, and if there is one, and if there is a single mutation or a chromosome or a genetic marker that is prevalent among that population, that's what we use to test among other populations to see, how much DNA of different people that they have, and that's to tell you where your nationality or where you are originally from, which is of course, filled with so many errors and pseudosciences and so on and so forth, which was addressed in the debate. Because now the question is, how can you use that evidence, considering that this is a people, the scriptures say, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Okay, we as a people, and this is a prophetic um precedent, and this is a prophecy, not just a prophecy, but something that happened in history as well. The Assyrian captivity, the Babylonian captivity, going into the Greco-Roman captivity as well. So many different points in history where our people were scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. So you can't use that DNA, especially the way that they currently do it, in order to find out who the true lost tribes or the tribes of Israel are. Okay, so many things that were wrong with his arguments that he made, against the against our people, okay, or rather against the 12 tribes chart. Because really, if you want to go into it, that is what Dr. Brown was arguing against. He was arguing against the 12 tribes chart, okay, and he was giving all these petty, normal, and Christian arguments. Oh, well, what about, well, how can that be all of the 12 tribes charts? It's just a general example showing you the 12 tribes that have been scattered in Babylon the Great. We know that there are so many more or so many other people scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, that their line goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, but when we go talk about the Americas, the land of captivity, which is America, Babylon the Great, okay, and the Americas, we are talking about the nations that have been, that talking about Jake that have been scattered throughout that continent. And that is why you see in America, Babylon the Great, all the nations that are on that 12 tribes chart, they are in Babylon the Great, both the northern and southern kingdom. Okay. But anyway, really what I wanted to go into was what the statements that he made, okay, concerning DNA, so on and so forth. And there are other arguments that I wanted to go into as well. Like for example, when he said that, and it's a shame that I don't have the timestamps for all these for everything that he said. But he also said something else that in the scriptures, and the Most High did say that our people will be scattered, our people will be left few in number, as pointing to the causes. So let's get that. We shall be left few in number wherever the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushua shall scatter us. Let me see if I can just quickly type that in, because I have to start looking for it. Here it is. Deuteronomy 28 verse 62. And ye shall be left few in number, whereas ye were as the stars of heaven for multitude, because thou wouldest not obey the voice of Yahweh thy power. and he's using this as an example to say that, oh well, our people, the Israelites, Jake can't be, the tribes can't be the true Israelites because we are many, right? Because we are many, we are plentiful, which is of course once again going off according, which is once again going off, because even the scriptures show you that in the last days, let's get that. How does that go? Though Israel be as the sand of the sea, yet shall there be a small remnant like that. Wait, let me get that precept. So let me get that precept. Here it is. So this is the book of Isaiah 10, verse 22. For though thy people Israel be as the sand of the sea, yet a remnant of them shall return. The consumption decreed shall overflow with righteousness. And that shows you that even though our people are many, okay, because our people are still plenteous, okay, we are the greatest number of people on the earth. But at the end of the day, on this side, only the elect, which will be a small number, will be delivered. You know, there is nowhere in the scriptures where it says that in the last days, that, oh well, our people are going to be small in number, because what that course was actually going into were things like the massacre of the Native Americans, the massacre of the Puerto Ricans, Ephraim, which is the Taino Indians, okay, when they were what, just a few hundred of them, okay. And this is how Esau Edom operates, where he was cutting down the northern kingdom, okay, killing them in droves, massacring them left and right. And that's actually what that he's talking about, because there was a time where some of the tribes were actually few in number, like I said, just a few hundred of them, you know. But even the scriptures tell you as well. Let's get this piece out as well. Let me see, that should be the book of Isaiah 3 or so. Hold on, so let me bring that out. Actually, look at Isaiah 3, where the scriptures say, if it was not for the intervention of the Most High, how about Shem Yahushai? Let me get that. Let me see if I can find that precept. Or was it Isaiah 1? Let me just type it in the blue letter. Here it is. Isaiah 1 verse 9. Except Yahweh of hosts had left unto us a very small remnant, we should have been as Sodom, and we should have been like unto Gomorrah. Okay, which is why, like I said, from the few hundred that was left of the Taino Indians during when Esau first invaded and started killing the natives of the Americas, right? Now you see that the Puerto Ricans, they don't they're up to millions now. Okay, but basically, what I or basically, okay, let me just summarize around this up, because now I'm just going into different things. I've already just touched on what I wanted to say, and the point being is that going through the history, going through the relics, this is why I'm so against these debates, man, because even when you're responding to the videos, you can't bring out too many precepts going into it, because then you have to start speaking and arguing and making your video and framing it in the context of the debate that they were talking about, right? Or rather, what they were debating about. And what they are debating about is, oh well, where is the secular evidence, not the scriptural evidence now? Because you can bring out, Revelation, the first chapter, from the 14th verse on down, to show that our Lord Yahushua was a dark-skinned man. And we can bring out all the precepts that, the Deuteronomy 28, that like we always do, to show the causes that affect our people. But yet you will have these other nations, these heathen, trying to use those same causes to try to push it on them. When was the time when you had small hearts, okay, being shipped in, being put in slave ships and being carried to Egypt? And that's the funny thing about this whole thing, that Lazar was looking at this Dr. Brown talking about everything that he's saying is BS, BS, BS. But the thing is that you can never question the narrative of these small hearts, okay? A small heart could come out today and say that, oh well, the whole of oh well, the what event that happened during that what period in World War II, that over 100 million of them were killed, and nobody will be able to argue that narrative, even though we know that it's false. It will be seen as anti-Semitic, it will be cancelled, so on and so forth. So no matter what the narrative these small hearts push, you can't even argue it, because that's how these devils operate, where they basically spew lies and then force everybody to accept it through the power of their hands. And that makes me think of the book of Micah, chapter 3. I've forgotten the example. Yeah, Micah chapter 2, verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hands. And this is how these devils operate, where they push unrighteous decrees and force the whole world to accept it, even though they know that it is wrong. Everybody knows that it's wrong, but we still have to do it because Esau Edom is in power, but not for long. And as for the controversy of Zion, we know that the answer will come forth, pretty soon. So we all can keep arguing all you want. We already know what we believe. We know who we are. We know who we worship. We know who the true Israelites are. And nothing that these small hearts can say or do, even though truly, truly, they can't say or do anything, will come against that. So with that, all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahawashai, Ba'asham Rakak, Wadash, Wa Abad Babal, and through the Spirit I hope you are calm and you are quite edified. Shalom.